And now we are going live. Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. With us today we have Mansi Zaveri, founder of Kidstop Press, considered as India's first parenting blogger. Kidstop Press is a brand that shares information about services, brands, events, and news that every parent must know of. I really hope this session helps every parent and everyone who's watching it and become a better version of themselves after this webinar.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks so
Mansi.
much for the introduction.
Yeah, so over to you, Mansi. So, what has been the inspiration behind Kidstop Press? Like, what do you believe is Kidstop's
I find it
USP?
really. Sorry, I lost your question.
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm asking you. So, like, what do you believe has been the inspiration behind Kidstop Press? What is Kidstop Press's USP?
So what really inspired me to start Kids Talk Press was this innate experience that I experienced when my child was about 2.5. That I felt like if, as a parent, you are spending more than 60% of your waking up time in front of a digital device, and why you're not communicating to that parent in that form, right? And that was one of the biggest reasons of why I started Kids Talk Press. And I've always had a I've always built digital businesses and connected communities through social, through digital, etc. And this was the phase of 2008, 2011. That time when
Okay.
Facebook was just gaining a lot of traction in India, and it was the perfect time to actually launch a digital platform because people had realized the power of social. People had realized the power of digital. And also, I think increasingly what we're doing is, while we may be speaking to the parent, we're speaking to parents between the ages of 28 to 45. We're speaking to India's most active spending audience, which is the audience between to 28 to 45. And I think that is the key. They have the disproportionate wallet size. And every parent's underlying philosophy for their child is, I want to give the best to my child. So I think for any entrepreneur, just listen to your customer. I think that's about, just nail your niche, identify what is it that you are building for your customer, and I think you'll be so.
Okay, so that was really nice, and we have seen that Kidstop Press has come a long way, and your website is something really very colorful. Also, I would say it's not a very boring website. Like कोई जाएगा तो
Yeah,
बोलेगा
there are
यार,
so many
it's
avatars,
very
right? One
yeah.
one day I'm a different, one day I'm studying about the new education policy, which I'm learning about today. One day I'm
Yeah.
trying to feed a toddler. One day I'm diaper changing. One day I'm figuring out how to kind of understand my child's mood tantrums, force him to eat palak. So every single day, there's so much of dynamics that are happening. One day I'm trying to explain to them that why does Seema auntie behave the way that she does, and it's hilarious because it's not like it's not like you're raising somebody who's going to take everything at face value for an answer. They'll keep probing, they'll keep asking. So it's very important to kind of be very, very dynamic
Yeah.
and colorful, because there are no straight answers to parenting. There are no right or wrong answers to parenting.
Yeah, that is very true. And I feel everyone has their own journey as well, which, you know, helps the other.
Right.
Yeah. So, what was your biggest challenge while you were developing this platform?
I think the biggest challenge for any entrepreneur is time. Okay. Tech is easy because you can get people to do it. Marketing, social media, everything is easy. I think the biggest thing for any entrepreneur is to make sure that you pack everything that you want to do now into those 24 hours, then into a week, then into a month, because I think things are evolving so fast that you have to keep pace with it. And I think that's the big question that all of us are trying to address at every point in time. So I think the biggest challenge for me has been time, and also just understanding the different cultural landscapes that India produces, right? Or India has this, such a mixed, very diverse culture, which is so rich. But at the same time, for a platform like ours, it makes it a little challenging because we are trying to say that okay, parents in the north do this when a child is born, parents in the south do this, within south, Tamil parents do this, and Bangalore parents do this, or in West Bengal people do this, or northeast people do this, or in Maharashtra and Gujarat people do this. So I think every local nuance, culture, festival, food, to figure that down to the bare basics, I think has been a challenge, because like I said, there's no wrong or right. It's just so much of culture that we have.
That is very true. Like every region, every place has a different dynamic altogether.
True.
So, 5 qualities to nurture in your child. If a parent asks you, what would be your answer to that?
That's a very good question. 5 qualities that I would want to nurture in my child has to be resilience, grit, respect, um, innovate. So creativity, innovate or
That's
creativity.
very important.
Yeah, because and Adam Grant said this, that practice makes perfect, but it doesn't make new. I want my kids to innovate. I want my kids to try. I want my kids to be hungry to learn. I think, and Yuval Noah Harari said this, for kids of the 21st century, the ability to learn and unlearn, right? That's going to be evolution. That's going to be so important for them to constantly evolve, that I think those 5 qualities make it absolute must have for them.
Okay, that's really nice. And like you've brought up 2 children, and I'm pretty sure they're doing great. So, how have you been strengthening, and how do you believe we can strengthen parent-child relationships, the bonding that they have?
Strengthening parent and child relationships is a factor of being honest, being vulnerable, being able to share success and failure with with absolute ease, and with the same straight face, right? Because that means you're teaching them that it's okay to fall, it's okay to rise, which I think is extremely important. I've been very honest whenever I'm in my most difficult, tough situations, or I'm stuck, or I don't know what to do. The best people who actually come back, the people I go to for advice are always my children, because children are one born with a very strong intuitive power, and for them there is no gray, there's either black or there's white, right? Which makes it so easy to choose. When do you get into a tough spot? You get into a tough spot when there are too many choices. If you don't have too many choices, problems will decrease. So then you are never
I
going to be right. And the minute you are not sad, it just makes it easier for you to be happy. So I always say this, that and in fact today on my Instagram, just before this live, I think sometime in the afternoon, and if you guys are not following me, make sure that you do, because that's how Daksha actually reached out to me. I'm quite responsive.
Yeah.
It's at Mansi.Zaveri, and I share a lot of pieces of learnings in life, and failures and entrepreneurship goals, and getting more done in a day, and about productivity on my page, if you guys are, and my love for food, food and sustainability. It's like my absolute passion. So if you guys are not, make sure you guys are. And I always say this, and I posted this afternoon, about my caffeine shots in between a packed day like today would be
Yeah.
my kids, right? They just come, they give me a hug, they go back. When it's 4 o'clock and I'm in between a call or a client meeting or a live or whatever, they'll make sure that they'll come in, give me a cup of chai, they'll give me some nashta. They'll, sometimes I'm like in back-to-back sessions and stuff, and my lipstick has gone off, and they'll even get my lipstick and keep it here. They'll refill my water bottle sometimes. And somebody actually said that, I wish my kids do this. And I said, one is you have to reciprocate it the same way. So sometimes, my daughter's currently teaching doodling as a summer project to children.
Oh, wow.
And when she's in back-to-back classes, I go and reciprocate it the same way. I'll make sure I keep a glass of water right there. I make sure I go and give her some nuts to eat. I make sure I just, in between a session, I just nudge her so she knows that, mom wants my attention, because that's what they do to me sometimes. So I think it's very important to keep that channel of communication open. Very important to let them know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to share. You Parents are not superhumans. I don't want to take with all that I do in a day and the many roles that I play. I do not want another baggage of a cape of a super mom on me. They already know that my mom's a goofy mom. She makes mistakes. She's not a superhuman. So I think that has really, really strengthened our relationship a lot. That has kind of helped us, whether it's about watching movies together or watching shows together, or whether it's about playing together. Like I play basketball with them, and I've bruised my knees so badly that they seem
Okay.
that pain. So I think, and being there for them, right, when they need you the most, I think that has all kind of helped in strengthening my relationship with my children.
That's pretty wonderful. So I really hope that moms who've been struggling with, like we all know, like there are some parents who really struggle with their relationship with their children because they don't really bond well. So I hope for all those who had sent me this question, that more being more honest and being more vulnerable helps you strengthen
Yeah.
your relationship with your children. Yeah. So I would really love to know, how do you multitask? Like how, as being an entrepreneur, as working, as being a mother, as being a wife, having to do. I'm pretty sure you have some house chores to do, looking after your children, looking after your work. So how do you manage all of this together? What is the secret to maintain a healthy balance between all and disturb none?
The secret to managing all the different things that I do in a day and managing them effectively or efficiently. And there are a couple of, it's a very interesting question, and I get asked this question a lot. Like, there are so many people, when I put my schedule out for the day, they actually ask me, shit, are you going to do all of this today? And I said yes. And I went for a 5K run this morning. So they're like, why would you be so harsh on yourself? And I'm like, I'm not being harsh on myself. This is how I like my days to be. And we have this course on Kids Top Press that I personally teach with a
Okay.
lot of industry leaders, which is called the Digital Strategy course, which is Digital Strategy, Entrepreneurship, and Marketing and PR. And I take multiple modules on that course for anybody who is trying to increase productivity or multitask or learn digital marketing strategy, PR, all organically. It's a great resource tool, and in there I share a lot of the productivity hacks that I have, or that I personally practice, that have really helped me, one, increase productivity, pack a lot in a day. So for example, there's a concept that we teach which is called batching. Right, what typically batching does, and I speak about this on my Instagram as well, what batching really does is you batch similar things together. So example, I'll tell you a typical day like today and how I have batched it. I had 5 calls in the morning beginning from 10 to 1. So every 30 minutes I had a different call. So one was a client call, one was a client call, one was a speaker opportunity discussion, one was with my CFO, one was about an investor call that I had, or another, one was a team call which I had to discuss some stuff because we're closing for the long weekend. So all of these things were done in the morning, between 10 to 1. And then I had from 2 to about 6, I'm only shooting and recording. So 2 to 3, I had a recording. 3 to 4, 3 to 3:45, I had another recording. 4 to 4:30, I had a live. And then now 5 to 6, I have this session, right? Now, what I've essentially done is I have batched similar things together. So I know that for this, I need the laptop, I need an iPhone, I need my lights, I need, I need my, I need to do hair, makeup, whatever. Like, even if it's just basic lipstick or put up a necklace or something like that, if you need to do that, you're saving efficiencies by clubbing things together. So today is actually my non-creative day. I'm executing today, right? This week I had 3 days like that, which was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where I did, similar sessions. I did my podcast recordings, my lives, and things like that, shoots, etc. Finished it on those 3 days. Tuesday and Thursday, I did absolutely no outside interaction, no external meetings, no external calls. except if it's an urgent client call that which I need to take, I will most definitely do that. But when you start doing that, you are giving yourself room to think, right? I think what all of us get caught up in doing is in executing. We don't give ourselves time for creativity. We don't give ourselves time to think. We don't give ourselves time to reflect. I think that is such an important aspect of an entrepreneur's life, of an individual's life, right? And even if it's as simple as scheduling a social media break, I have put that onto my calendar. So
Okay.
people say that I'm on Instagram and then I keep guzzling, and my time has just gone by and I don't know how many hours have I lost. But what you need to do is that schedule time for whatever you want to do, even if it means, because you need to understand your brain is like do and reward, do and reward. So Instagram or social media could be your reward for the day, right? And you need that 10 minutes. You need that 10 minutes in the morning. You need that 10 minutes in the evening, and 10 minutes before you log off, right? So that's typically how you can manage to schedule in that time and make sure. And another thing I think people overdo is, when you send somebody a calendar request, it's a very simple hack. When you send somebody a calendar request, give that time slot only for how much the discussion is meant. So if you think you're going to finish that call in 15 minutes, put the calendar request only as 10 to 10:15. Just because the calendar allows you by default to put 10 to 11, don't
Yeah.
do that. It's not worth your time. So don't do it, right? So only schedule at 10 to 10:45. Next up is, if you are, and Zoom is a classic example, right? Because you have that 40-minute free, you're going to wrap up your
Yeah.
1 hour meeting in 40 minutes. The minute you get rich and you buy that Zoom subscription, boom,
Yeah.
your time concept is lost. So when we have things in finite proportion, we kind of learn to be more productive, right? So this COVID has actually taught us that very efficiently. Like, okay, if you know that I have to finish this and I have to go back to cooking and cleaning and dishes and whatever, you automatically build in those efficiencies, right? Because your brain has programmed that I need to finish this in this much time. So I think that is a very, very interesting concept. Also, I believe in a lot of conservation of energy. Now, what I mean by that is not is not something very philosophical, but I believe, and I really, really, truly practice this, that every person I am meeting, I want to give them my 100%, right? So you need to understand that you need to make sure that you have energy left, and you've kind of created for that person. Because anybody, and this is my personal thing, that I always feel like if somebody has met me, they should leave that feeling after they've met me should be feeling full, right? And that's the energy I want to transfer to another person. So I think all of these things together make it easier. The last thing that I would mention is, one is, make sure that you make time for things that you love, right? Which you're doing for yourself. Like, I practice yoga, I love to cook, I love to run. I make sure that I love to read. I make sure I fuel my body, my energy, my mind. I meditate a lot. So I fuel my energy and my body with things I love. Because when you do that, your body automatically feels good and it feels nourished, right? It's like hair. You'll see your
Yeah.
hair, when you get a coconut oil massage, your hair automatically feels good the next day, right? When
Yeah.
you wash it. Your body and your soul are no different. So make sure that you're recharging all the three batteries: your emotional, physical, and spiritual. And again, this we talk about it on our course, which is called the KSP strategy course. We do that because it's so important that if any one of them is not charged, you're not going to be able to give your 100%. So guys, just make sure that you try and charge all those three batteries every single day.
Yeah. So, guys, we have been watching Mansi and Kid Stop Press's story for a very long time, and she schedules her days so well. I insist you all go follow her page. You will actually come to know so many things she lines up in a day, and she successfully completes each one of them. So kudos to the hard work you do, Mansi.
Thank you.
So like this is a question like which I really was insisted upon asking. What is the mistake you see parents doing? Like one mistake you see most parents doing.
The mistake I think a lot of parents do is actually a couple of them. One is that they judge other parents. I think parenting should be a space where you don't judge the other person, because there is so much that is going on in a parent's life that I feel, just give people the benefit of doubt. Be easy on them because you don't know what they're going through. So I think that's one. Second is that I think somewhere we're, and this is a very interesting conversation that I had when I was recording my podcast this afternoon, and I'm very excited for that episode on Geo Savan to go live, where he actually talks about the ability to let that ambition brew, right? That to let that love for something brew. Is we hand over to our children before they ask, versus when you were a kid and you wanted a remote control car, or you wanted some toy and your parents did not buy it at one go. It sparked joy. Even if that inaccessibility is great joy. It kind of builds your love for that product slowly, right? I think parents need to really reassess how much they give their children and how soon. The third one I feel, which is vastly amiss, is respect. I find it so surprising that so many children are so disrespectful towards. And I don't know if respect is the right word or it's empathy, right? I really wish today's parents could raise a little bit more empathetic children. And this is not to generalize, but just to say that if there was a little bit more empathy, I think it could do so much more to the coming generation. And I think we don't let our kids fall. I think we are an extremely protective parenting breed. We catch our kids before they fall, and I think let them fall a lot more. Yeah, like I keep telling my kids that your wounds are your trophies. If you've not fallen enough, if you've not had bruised knees, that means you've not learned enough, right? So I think that's one of the biggest lessons.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That was really insightful to the question. I hope it helps everyone. So, as you yourself is such a successful mom and an entrepreneur, what advice would you like to give young moms and entrepreneurs to succeed at their workplace and at their homes?
Right. I don't know if I'm successful or not, because I measure success every day differently, and I think that's how it should be, right? Because example today, when I was running in the morning, I aimed for aimed for a certain timing for my 5K run, but it was a different timing. But I managed to run that stretch at one go, so that was success to me. So every day the measure of success and the metrics of success keep evolving, and I think that's what brings excitement, right? Otherwise we'll all get complacent. But if I have to give advice to entrepreneurs, it is don't give up. uh, you know life is what you don't see is just around the corner. It's not the end of the road. Just keep at it, blinkers on. If you believe in something, you're passionate about something, if your consumer wants it, if there's a need gap that you're filling, go for it. Do not worry about what people will say, what people will think, whether you will fail. Honestly, when I started Kid Stop Press, I did not think about failure. I think that's the best part about being an entrepreneur, that you get so consumed by the passion that the thought of failing doesn't exist in your head. Um, so I think that is very important, and my mom always told me this. She said, just remember this one line, which is "सबसे बड़ा रोग है क्या कहेंगे लोग." She's like, just drill that into your head. And she's like, don't worry about what the world says. Don't worry about what they think of you. When you put yourself out there, of course you're subjecting yourself to public opinion, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on this live, whether it's on Facebook, or whether you're doing anything at all, right? Today we're all surrounded by cameras all around us in any case. So it's like, don't worry about what people will think of you. Think of what you will think of yourself. That should be the only thought that should kind of go into your head. So I think that was one. And it is just state. I don't, I always think of my consumer. I don't think of what people are going to think of me. So that is one. Second is advice to parents. You chose parenting. You chose to have kids. Your kids are not going to be little forever. So make sure that you really do justice. Spend a lot of time with them. Parenting is just so much fun. Like, I cannot even tell you. My kids are 11 and 7 now, and I've just
Okay.
had best time ever, right? Like, I mean, it's just the most rewarding role I've ever played in my life. It's the most memorable moment of my life. It's the strongest friendship in my life that I've ever had. And you chose it, so live it, because it's not going to be there forever. They're going to leave the nest pretty soon, and you don't want to ever feel like, I wish I could, I could have done better or whatever, right? So I would just say that just have fun, guys. It's the most beautiful journey in your life, and if you're gonna do it once, you're gonna do it twice or three times. Just make sure that you enjoy every bit of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's really, really, really thoughtful of you, Mansi. Like, लोगों का मत सोचो, आगे बढ़ते रहो. So,
Exactly.
yeah, now that you've attained a platform where you can, I think the platform that you always wanted to establish, what do you struggle with now? Like, what do you think you have, you still facing problems with?
I think like Kids Stop Us Now today reaches to we reach over a 10 million per month across all our social and web assets. And I think the struggles every day are very different. But if you are an entrepreneur, you I think the mistake that we all make is that we move from one problem to the other so fast, right? Like, we hardly celebrate the success of figuring out one problem before we move to the next, right? Because our nature is to problem solve. So I think the biggest and that's what exactly happened during COVID. We launched in like 66 days. We launched four new projects. We launched an online vocational courses for parents and educators to come on a common platform, so you can learn from decluttering like Marie Kondo, to art and craft, to storytelling, to how to get your kids to read, to how to ace digital strategy and marketing and PR. All of these courses, and I just realized that ability that, okay, here are a whole bunch of educators, here are a whole bunch of parents. How do we get them married, right? And let Kids Stop Press be that platform. So we launched that. We launched our digital survey. We launched our podcast with Geo Savan in the midst of this pandemic. So what I'm trying to say is that, Daksha, there will never be a moment where you say this is a problem I can't solve. And like I always say that problems excite us as a breed, right? As entrepreneurs, so we get so charged with problems and our ability to constantly problem solve. I really think that for me the biggest problem right now is time, and the pace at which my mind thinks, and the execution, and the pace at which execution happens. I think that, if well aligned, could be perhaps a little better.
Okay. So, what obstacle do you think was the like do you face while establishing this platform, or what was your biggest challenge? Not exactly the second question that I asked you, like what was your challenge while you were building this platform, but right now I want to ask you, what has the greatest obstacle you faced while achieving the success that you desired? Did you
I
think you
think,
missed out on something?
yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges and obstacles that I faced along the way have to be I honestly feel like each one of them was a great experience, a great learning process. And perhaps I should share a few. So, I come from a consumer behavior marketing business strategy background, and I lack the technical expertise to go with it, right? So I made a couple of blunders in terms of getting the right technical partners way back when I was building my business, etc. And but those were great learning experiences to teach you what you don't want. Okay, and then you will, when you realize what you don't want, will clear your thoughts in what you want or what you need, right? So I think that was a very interesting journey. I made mistakes in hiring a few wrong people. I think people and culture is such an important thing in any startup, any entrepreneurial journey. Invest in the right people. I think it makes so much of a difference. And try, and always also we try and hold on to people because we feel like, okay, I cannot do without this person, or what will happen if I do without this person, or this person leaves. I think absolute BS. If you feel like the person is adding toxicity to your business, to your culture, to yourself, is sapping out your energy as an entrepreneur, get rid of that person. Your company will survive. Yeah, but make sure you make the right hires. The other bit that I feel early on, and this is something again that we teach in our digital entrepreneurship and strategy course, is we make sure, and I've done a whole detailed session on this on YouTube as well. So people who are watching on YouTube can check it out. It's our latest video on our YouTube channel. It's at Kids Stop Press. Um, the other lesson that I learned along the way was to not document a lot of things, because I think when you, as a founder, start building your business, make sure you start documenting it, because as your team will grow, you will need someone to execute it with that system and process in place, right? Because otherwise, you're reinventing the process each time, you're rewriting that process each time, which is a criminal waste of time. If you ace the process, if somebody has documented it, it will just become easier for somebody to launch soon after, right? And somebody to come and fill in your shoes very easily. So I think that is a very important aspect. So make sure that as an entrepreneur, you document every single process the way you would like it. Of course, you have to evolve. Of course, you have to change course. Of course, technology will evolve. But I think if you just document somewhere how, why, objective, and the 360 plan to doing that, it becomes very, very simple. Also, just make sure that you articulated your vision very clearly in your head. Like a simple thing, like I tell my team, when they're editing our YouTube videos or our Instagram videos or whatever, I tell them, make sure that you write the caption or the title first and then start editing. And that is what your consumer demand is. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's what your consumer demand is, what your consumer's problem is. Your edit is your product. You make sure that you edit it in a way that fits what the consumer wants, not what you want. Also, and then third is, what do you want the consumer to do after they've seen that, right? Everything needs to have a very defined call to action. Always ask people what you want from them. Like, I get so many emails, and this is a mistake I made, right? When I was reaching out for mentors, or when I was reaching out to people who I needed help with, I didn't know what I want from them. So I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. Like, I get emails from people, hey, I love this, I love what you do, I love blah blah blah, whatever. And I think it'll be great to collaborate. But collaborate where, when, how? You are expecting me to go to your platform, figure out what you do, and then come back to you and tell you, okay, this is how I think. I don't have the time. So instead of that, if you told me, hey, Mansi, I run a platform, Kids Stop Press, which has a digital reach of 10 million. We have podcast, this. We'd love to collaborate with you on our podcast and have you as a guest on our show. Let me know if your schedule permits between this date to this date, this date to this date. It's a definite ask. You know what I'm saying? What do you want of the person? I think that was one of the few early mistakes that I did.
Okay. Yeah, that is very true. To be like very knowing what you're going for, to be very specific of what you ask. Right. So, interesting question. Next up, we have what has been the most surprising or the strangest marketing experiment that you've used? Like something
Um,
which might have worked out, something which did not work
oh,
out, but something
this
which
one,
was strange. Yeah.
yeah, this the strangest marketing experiment that we did was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when I started. I was just sitting on my laptop and thinking, okay, and this was early days of Kids Stop Press, and I said, I think I wasn't even sitting on my laptop. I was actually sitting at a restaurant, and I distinctly remember. I think it was Swati Snacks in Mumbai, and they have these. Every restaurant has this Times Food Award, Burp Award,
Mhm.
and whatever. I don't think Zomato Awards was there back then, but I just kept looking at it, and I just said that, if something as simple as food, which we kind of eat and flash, we give so much importance to it in terms of, best restaurant in nightlife, best restaurant in Gujarati thali, best restaurant in this, that, whatever. Um, if we give so much importance to that, what we are doing as a community in the parenting space is raising the future generation of India, right? Or globally, right? Because now Kids Stop Press is read across 300 different cities worldwide. So I thought to myself that if we are doing that, then why are we not honoring people who are building some crazy ass products in this space? And that was it. I came home. I think it was about 10 p.m. or so, because I finished dinner and I came back. And I said, I'm going to have an awards for the parenting and baby care category. I came back, and this was, I think, in February of 2015 or 2014. I don't remember. And I said, okay, Kids Stop Press Awards in nominations now open, send in your entries. First day, I was anxiously waiting. Okay, what happens? What happens? Nothing happened. Second day, people started taking notice of it. And in a span of about a month or so, we had about 30 entries, 30 nominees. And we had, I think, about 2,000, 3,000 people voting. Okay. And I was like, wow, I got 3,000, 4,000 new people on my platform. And then the year after, and we just did like a virtual ceremony because, I was a very small team. I was probably me and one more person in my team, and we just announced it via YouTube, right? Who are the winners and things like that. The year after, it grew bigger. The year after, it grew bigger. And the rest is history. When we concluded this year, we had over 2,200 nominees across 65 different categories, digital reach of over 100 million, all organically, 60,000 people voting for us, and we had over, I think, 600 or 700 people attend, sorry, not 600 to 700 people, 400 to 500 people watching it, I mean attending it live. Okay. uh, it made and it united the parenting community like no other, right? So it's the only property in the parenting and baby care space. So it was a crazy marketing experiment, just looking at and just observing, sitting at a
Yeah.
restaurant, and it has become my biggest brand spinner, revenue spinner, goal spinner, community builder, just about everything. So just one experiment out of literally nowhere has kind of all just worked.
That was very, very like pretty amazing. Observation skills really helped you. Okay. So what is like really wrapping up the session? So what has been one thing that you've been enjoying more than being an entrepreneur?
Sorry, more than
More than being an entrepreneur.
what do I enjoy? What do I enjoy more than being an entrepreneur is definitely being a mom, because you come across a different product every single day. Your child can wake up with a good mood, your child can wake up with a bad mood, unpredictable customer to deal with. So I love doing that. And I think it's the purest and most selfless form of love I have ever experienced. So, of course, being a mother, I love listening to podcasts. I'm an absolute podcast junkie. You will have me listen to about 2 or 3 podcasts a day. And I do a lot of podcast recommendations on my Instagram page. Guys, if you're now watching it, make sure you go follow. I read a lot. So podcast recommendations, book recommendations is like a weekend thing. I always put them down. Um, I love cooking. I actually love reading about nutrition and fitness because I feel food is so therapeutic, and I exercise, work out, and eat right simply because I feel fitness is never measured by a measuring tape, but how frequently do you fall sick, right? That is your measure of how fit you are. So that is one bit that I really enjoy, and I've been practicing yoga for now over, I think, 11 years. I started when I was pregnant with my older one, and I haven't looked back because it has taught me so many things. It's taught me resilience, it's taught me grit, it's taught me how to fall. I think as we grow older, we don't know how to fall, and I think that's very weird and very strange. But yoga teaches you to fall and climb up, fall and climb up. It teaches you even how to fall. So I think that is very interesting about doing yoga. And of course, I'm a big I love plants. You can see one at the back. It's my most therapeutic Sunday morning to be with my plants, water them, and make sure that they're all well fed and taken care of. I love doing that.
Okay. That's really nice. I really hope that this session helps every parent and every entrepreneur and every person who is wishing to achieve their goals in life is uncertain about themselves and thinking करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए घर इफेक्ट होगा ये इफेक्ट होगा वो इफेक्ट होगा सबको साइड में रखकर and then they multitask like and your opinions I really hope they help them. Thank you so much Mansi for the wonderful session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you Mansi.
Thank you. Thanks, Steve. Bye.